This is Chris Hansen.
Chad doing Rip City Radio here.
It's your favorite basketball player, Tyler Hansbrough.
This is Jamie Hudson.
This is TJ Houshmandzadeh.
And I'm going to let y'all know something.
Duke sucks and Duke will always suck.
You're listening to
It Just Makes Sense.
It just makes sense.
We are sports. We are nostalgia. We are pop culture. And we're funny sometimes.
I think overall we're just a good time.
They thought we couldn't do it. But guess what?
We're back.
Podcasts are free, and we can do whatever the hell we want.
Yeah.
We never knew what we were doing in the first place.
Yeah, that is a good point.
So let's go ahead and bring Doc Rivers in. You know how many Game 7s that guy has lost? All of them. All of them he has lost. So it's just hilarious that, like, here he is again.
We're going to get feisty with it.
What's happening? Keep it away from Tom!
Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
believe it.
Oh my God, my coach totally threw me under the bus. And I know I'm sounding super spicy right now, but I scored 62. Okay, sis? And who are
Speaking
we
of
to
losing,
call people out on losing bets, okay? We suck at betting.
And remember, don't be afraid to fade yourself.
so Braxton, your mother just texted you,
Yeah, she did.
and it got you a giggle. And it said save it for the podcast. And now I'm wondering if it's podcast worthy.
Well, I'm going to dinner on Friday with my mom
And Jay.
and Jay and Jara, my wife.
My wife.
My wife.
And they have been telling us about this place in Woodburn that they love called the Country Cottage.
Oh, no. It's like a Cracker Barrel.
Wasn't that on Diners, Drive-Ins, and
Yeah,
Dives?
this sounds like a
It might have
haven
been,
for
yeah.
January 6th insurrectionists.
but she just texted me at 9:00 p.m. and Jara in a group text and said, on Friday when we go to the Country Cottage, I have already reserved their ribs. Oh,
She's got the ribs. Okay, so let's take a look at this fine
I'm
establishment.
curious what kind of ribs.
And why are these? I mean, the first pictures are very much not rib related.
What are the chances it's country ribs? Ain't no barbecue.
Yeah, it's definitely like oven ribs.
Oven ribs. Nope, that's burger. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Bro, go to
5
Z
photos.
Tomato menu. Come on.
I want photos.
Type ribs. Country Cottage ribs.
Here we go.
No one gets ribs but Monique. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Well, she reserved them.
Whose ribs? Yep, not even on the Yelps. But apparently
Is that
they
a
are
Salisbury steak?
show-stopping. That?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's
Burger
got a lot of
steak.
gravy on it, whatever
Yeah,
it
it
is.
does.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, lobster
Why is it that
tail.
no one can take a good photo on Yelp? Like, it is just
Is that a-
constantly these photos.
Is that a burger patty and a lobster tail? That's not a steak, is it?
I have no idea.
Is it meatloaf?
That does not look like a steak.
It's definitely a lobster tail, and it looks like the most unseasoned thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I'm imagining the clientele of this place is, 55 and older.
I will give, how many not white people as customers will be there?
There's a lot of Mexicans
Yeah, I
in
was gonna
Woodburn.
say
Yeah,
it
but
is-
still, I know that. I'm factoring that in,
I
which
would-
is crazy.
I would say it's probably 90% Caucasian.
The
Yeah.
crowd, the audience in this group are people who can't have sodium. They have to
Or just choose not
less
to have
sodium
sodium.
intake,
Oh,
like
right.
gluten-free.
They're old.
Yeah.
Their cholesterol's a little up.
Everything
Oh, they're not gluten free.
everything has to be ground
Maybe-
or tenderized because their teeth
Maybe low
not
sodium,
so solid.
which I can appreciate. After a heart attack.
I think, you know what? Text your mom back. We're going because I'm curious.
Yeah, well, we'll show up
We'll
too.
be
We need the brown representation.
Tell her
of
to reserve
country.
more ribs.
Yeah.
She respond. Jara gave her the eyes, and she said they're so good. And I said, "You bring in your own wet wipes?" And she says, "Yep."
Wet wipes, huh? Monique. That little badger. Okay, so right before this, we were singing Hinder. We were singing Lips of an Angel. And I was just thinking, like, if you only had to listen to one band for the rest of your life, would it be Hinder or Nickelback?
Nickelback.
Is that easy?
Yeah.
What would be, like, more difficult than that?
Name another Hinder song.
I feel like I know.
I can't name a Nickelback song.
Really?
You know,
I mean,
a bunch
I would
of
know them
Nickelback
if I
songs.
heard them. I just don't know what the title.
Let me see if I can give
Photograph?
you anything. Yeah,
Oh,
Photograph. You know a lot of
Rockstar. Animals.
I just wanna be big rocks. Yeah.
Nickelback.
Far away.
Nickelback.
I loved you.
Yeah.
I loved you all along.
Is Dave Grohl Nickelback?
No.
No, that's Foo Fighters. Oh no.
Who's the main guy from Nickelback?
At official IJMS, that was Juan Miguel who just said that.
What is his name? It's like Craig or something.
Who, the main singer for Nickelback?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Craig Ferguson.
That's him.
I feel like
Okay, I'll go with Nickelback. You just named two that I know.
Yeah, and there's Better Than Me. I feel like we know Better Than Me. At least I know Better Than Me from Hinder. Oh yeah, hold on.
I don't know this one.
Yeah. Peter's thrusting his pelvis right now.
If these are the only two bands I could listen to, I'd just be sad all the time.
Nickelback has a lot of fun, pump you up songs. Throw on Animals. If Animals doesn't get you going, I don't know what
So
will.
if you choose Hinder, that just means your partner's leaving you all the time.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or you're cheating on her.
All right, here we go.
Oh, great Sum 41 song.
They're coming to Portland. I really want to go.
Too dangerous. Mosh pits.
Nickelback, low key. I know that people were giving them a lot of shit for a while,
They're the
but I've
shit.
always been a big Nickelback guy.
This song goes hard.
Nickelback or Creed.
How come we haven't done Nickelback at a freaking karaoke night?
I don't
Let's
know.
do it afterwards. We've got the karaoke machine here, so you're gonna love it. He can have the voice
Yeah.
Nickelback or Creed.
adjuster. Right, I feel like Creed or Hinder would be better,
Why not Creed and Nickelback?
because I would still choose Nickelback. Animals!
See, it's not all sad.
Yeah. I feel like this song can make a comeback, too. There's a lot of Nickelback that can come back around. All right.
They're making a comeback. They're
What about-
touring.
What about Daughtry? Daughtry had a
Daughtry can blow me.
thing. I mean, but he's
that
like
the American
one step
Idol
away.
guy?
That balding fuck.
Yeah, but he's like one step away, I feel like, from Nickelback. No?
No.
All right.
What was his hit song?
He had a thing.
He had
I saw
one
him in
song.
concert at the State Fair.
Of course you did.
It was my
Disgusting.
ex-girlfriend who
What was
wanted
his
to go.
one song?
It's Not Over. Home.
It's not
I'm coming
over
home. All right.
to a place where I belong.
Great song.
Why does all singers of this genre from this time sound the exact fucking same? I'm coming home.
It's uncanny.
It's all the same.
We are
Creed-
going to get
Creed.
copyright violated so hard on YouTube.
I don't give a
can't even
fuck.
Post any of this shit.
I know. We
Post
can.
it.
We just might not be able to get
Not on
would be
TikTok. We can get away with it on.
Just
Twitter.
TikTok. No one else.
No, TikTok's on it like a hawk.
Yeah, when we posted the share on Instagram, that did not make it through.
You're listening to
Every region.
KLB Low J.
XLB pork and crab.
By request, Hinder, Lips of an Angel.
What if we just started like a pirate radio station?
Just,
we just turned the podcast into a pirate radio station.
just get a low.
We're just going R the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's what pirate radio means. Yeah, and just like
yeah, that's exactly what pirate radio is.
Dude, we gotta wear eye patch.
yeah, it's like, hey, can you guys sense the fact that I am fully dressed up as a pirate?
What's a
now?
pirate's favorite letter?
R?
R.
Okay, I honestly thought that I was going to be wrong there for a second. I was like, it's too obvious. Just get like a low radio
Cut that.
frequency. Low frequency radio station.
Yeah, get a ham radio.
There was a, well, number one, I knew I was destined for radio as a kid because I would do, before church on Sundays, I would flip through my CDs and I would do a top 10 of songs that I liked the most that week. And then we were always late for church because I had to get through the whole gamut there.
So you just made a manual mix CD
Of Celine Dion, yeah.
Yeah.
It was always
So
generally
you just
that. And
created Celine Dion's greatest hits before she did.
yeah, that's true.
You knew you were destined for radio because you listened to one person for decades.
Exactly. You know what? It goes super hard that doesn't anymore are call letters for radio stations. Right? There was a new one that was like in Hillsboro. For no reason at all, it had just the best jingle ever. It was 94.3 KWLZ, and it just like hits the peak right, and then it goes into Hinder or something like that. It was just like, it's amazing.
The jingles?
Yeah, like K103. It's just
K103.
I think there was one in
real hard.
Utah, 97.1 ZHT.
Yeah.
Can we turn this off?
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, we're still going. We're still going there. Well, welcome to It Just Makes Sense. We are back once again. Weather is cleared up. We're good to go.
Yeah, it's like it never happened.
Yeah, I've gone from maybe appendicitis to not appendicitis to just like uncontrollable coughing. My health is great. So I smell like menthol right now as I'm just crushing cough drops.
You should just be real high right now.
Maybe. I'm sure that would really help my respiratory system if I'm just inhaling smoke.
Take
Well,
an
I guess
edible.
I already am with my secondhand smoke here.
Take an edible.
Did I tell you guys that over the weekend, because we were basically locked in our house, it was icy as fuck outside, and our power went out, so we didn't have really anything to do, and Jara rolled a joint. And,
really?
And as, you know, some P1 listeners would know, I used to be quite the marijuana smoker. There's more videos of me smoking on this podcast than there isn't. That's for sure. And I had given it up a little while back, but I thought, you know what? Fuck it. I'm locked in the house. I'm going to take a few puffs.
Slow poofs?
And it was like I was 17 again.
Really? Just like absolutely wrecked you?
Yeah. Well, and it was like I got that like giggly, innocent high. Like the only thing that we had to like entertain us was we had the Nintendo Switch where you know you can just set up the little screen and play with the little controllers. So we were like playing Mario Kart and Mario Party, and I was just like zoned in.
Yeah, for sure.
It was so much fun.
That is probably the
It's
way
like
to
losing
go.
your
Like,
virginity all over again.
Yeah, it was great.
we did not lose the power, but yeah, just like the ability to just like get totally high and stare at a poster for a while.
Yeah.
Really could pass the time.
Yeah.
Really could pass the
Yeah,
time.
like that Pink Floyd one with all the naked girls sitting on the edge of the... Yeah.
Yeah, one of my college roommates when I was a freshman, I think they took acid or something like that, and they had this inspirational quote about courage or something, and it was like a rose that had like morning dew on it, and they were like trying to climb into the poster because they wanted to jump on the rose petals.
Yeah.
That's how you
There's
do
something
it.
very innocent about acid.
Something very
You just
innocent.
talk to myself for 48 hours.
Yeah. Very innocent about acid.
Isn't
But
it
it was
great
fun.
though when, like, as shitty as it was to lose power and to not have the entertainment and shit, it brings you back to like, what if we didn't have all this stuff?
Yeah, because
You're forced to like do things without your phone, without TV, and not just be, we could blow through 4 hours in a night just like binge watching something episode after episode. And Jara sent that message
right,
to the
yeah, I was
group.
gonna bring
It was
that up.
like, oh, you take on the challenge of not being on your phone for an entire month and you get $10,000. And she was like, oh, Miguel, here's your chance. I immediately wrote an essay and I applied to it.
Yeah.
I'm
Do you
like,
think that
"That'd be
you could do
fucking
it?
great."
Not use my phone for a month?
I don't think there's a way that I could.
I could do it.
I could absolutely. I would
Yeah.
love the challenge to do it.
I mean, I went to jail for 3 months. They don't got phones in there.
That is true. How much TV could you watch? You watch a lot of TV?
Yeah.
Pretty accessible?
Yeah.
But it's just like, do you get to determine what's on? Or you have to
No.
ask?
No, usually it's like there's certain shows at certain times of days that are always on. Like I remember there was this one, I think it was called like
The Young and the
Mash?
Restless? Like
No,
where you
it
just
was-
dialed into CBS soap operas?
no, it was like a what's that Latin channel?
Telemundo?
Telemundo.
Yeah.
And it was this dating show. I think it was called 12 Corazones.
Oh, 12 Hearts?
Yes. And
Doce Corazones?
and yes. And it was just all these super hot Latin women with big boobies and
Yeah, you just wouldn't
And it
need,
was
you don't
just-
need to know what they're saying.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
no, I mean, obviously there were some guys who spoke Spanish in there, but everybody would crowd around the TV at like 1 p.m. and just be like
Dialed in.
Circle
dialed
jerk?
in. Yeah. No, that didn't happen. But yeah, and then what was going on? Oh, the NBA finals were going on while I was in jail, so people were betting on that, and we'd watch that.
Yeah.
Especially if it's not permanent. Like, it would be a good break. It would, take you back to, like...
A nice little reset, nice little jail
like,
reset.
no, not jail, but I'm just, like, not having your phone. Like, if
Yeah.
you're taking a shit, you got to bust out the magazines. Because you're not on your phone.
Yeah, read the back of the conditioner bottle.
Yeah.
Your 75 hard is just being in jail.
Probably have a better chance of losing weight in
Yeah,
jail than
honestly.
actually
Yeah.
doing
When you think
75
about
hard.
just kind of like really level setting everything in your life.
Yeah, you read
nice,
a lot.
Nice little stop in jail wouldn't be too bad.
I hope they pick me. I could do it.
go to jail.
That's easy 10 grand.
Yeah. Is life less complicated in jail? Or are you like antsy in jail?
I mean,
I don't want to like bring up like I'm just curious because
Here-
you're the only
if
person
you-
that I
if you were to
could ask this
take
question to.
jail without, if you were to just go to jail without the nerve and anxiety of like, oh, what's gonna happen, or am I gonna get in more trouble? If you were just like, I'm gonna do this and almost looked at it like a rehab,
Do my time and get out.
it would be, not that bad. And honestly, I was in a position where I went in, I had already been sentenced. I knew exactly how long I was going to be there. There was really nothing more that could happen to me unless I committed a crime while I was in jail.
Which you kind of did.
Yeah. Neither here nor there. But
What's the name of the person you killed?
Yeah.
That's
no
it.
comment.
We joke.
comment.
We joke. He didn't kill nobody.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No one at the country cottage.
But I feel like I did a pretty good job. Like, obviously there were stressful times, but I feel like I did a pretty good job of like just being like, you know what, it is what it is. Let's make the best of it. Let's enjoy our time, read, work out, try to make friends and
Yeah.
be out of it. It wasn't, I hate to say this because jail is terrible and I don't recommend it to anybody, but it wasn't that bad.
Not that bad. Well, now, because the reason why you were there is for something you wouldn't even get in trouble for
Yeah.
these days. So, like, you should get reverse jail. They should, like, pay you, like, a vacation or
Yeah,
something. They
they
should
should.
give you a vacation because
They should.
they done messed
Give
up.
me some
and everything.
PTO, Idaho.
Yeah. At the very least, they could give you a consolation prize of Hidden Valley Ranch Burt's Bees chapstick, because apparently that's a
Gross.
thing now. Yeah. An interesting collaboration going out between good old Hidden Valley Ranch, which I learned today is owned by Clorox. So Clorox owns
A shit ton of stuff.
a lot of stuff, including, the bleach and Pine Sol and cat litter, and then also like Casey Masterpiece and Hidden Valley Ranch, just the family of networks.
Ranch
that is
chapstick, though?
Clorox.
It's a what's it called? Like a conglomerate that owns all these companies.
Yeah, not terribly surprising, but do you really? Yeah. Anyways, I'm pretty sure that they use Clorox as the big umbrella company, but either way. I was trying to think about interesting food collabs that kind of work, and I didn't get very far, but I wondered if there was just kind of random thing
this shithole of a plate really inspire you?
But Hidden Valley Ranch, just like the bottled stuff, is trash anyways. The packet where you can actually make your own stuff, great. But, I have never been a big, Hidden Valley Ranch guy.
I was when I was younger.
I feel weird.
But, yeah, not anymore.
Are you just saying you don't like Hidden Valley Ranch, or you're not a ranch person in general?
No, the bottle, shelf-stable Hidden Valley Ranch, not a fan.
There's not a lot of, bottles that I've found where I like the ranch.
Right.
But I like ranch dressing from places. Like Wingstop.
Yeah.
Or
and
pizza
they're probably
joints.
using I'm pretty sure they're using the packet.
Or they're
just
making their own. But
making it
bottled
fresh.
ones, I've not found one that I
I've
like.
only found one that I like, and it's the Kraft Everything Seasoned Ranch.
Interesting.
So it's like
And
an
it's-
everything bagel seasoning.
Uh-huh.
And it's,
And it's shelf-stable?
yes.
So you buy it just on a normal aisle, not in the refrigerated section?
I don't believe so. And it's very good. Very good. And I've just recently found it.
Just recently found it.
Just
All
recently.
right, so it's a new thing. It's not one of those things that never exists anymore where they take it away from you.
Yeah.
So in this discovery,
Yeah. Ask me more.
Yeah. It's not like you can only get it in jail like those chips. It's going to be an all jail episode of It Just Makes Sense,
Yeah.
apparently.
Jarrah will love it.
Yeah. Let's see. Would you rather us talk about that or the upcoming anniversary?
Can you take
of your
away the
medical?
shark plate?
Yeah, I can. I can do that.
we've been talking about sharks all night. That's what this looks like.
That is true. You did pose. Would you rather every time you sneeze shart, or would you rather always smell like BO for $100 million?
Sneeze shark.
Sneeze shark.
Sneeze shart, yeah.
However,
it's
that's
more
not-
of a power move than anything.
You chose BO in the beginning though. And that
I
the
was
only
not
option.
granted the authority, the option.
But you were the
of
only one
sneeze
who
shart.
chose BO.
Right,
for
it's
money.
$100 million of real hypothetical money.
I honestly, the only reason I wouldn't take the BO without the sneeze shark option is because then my wife wouldn't be around me at all.
I am afraid of smelling bad. I don't want to smell bad
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah, nobody likes smelling bad.
I don't think as much as I love money, I can't take $100 million to have BO for the rest of my life.
Well, each their own.
100 million though, geez.
It's a lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
It's so much money that you don't need to be around people even.
That's
Then you're
that
just
wouldn't be
depressed
my
and
goal
smelly?
of having money is to not be around people.
Or you'd have a place big enough to where it's you could sit at one end of the table and then 50 feet away are your friends there on the other side.
Will change my life for the worse.
All right. Well, that's just me. You will not, let's see. Ooh, I thought I had a good transition. It's not there. Last week we talked about the Applebee's date night gift card. I did not get one despite my best efforts.
You tried?
I did try. It was you go in, it's 9 o'clock, you hit the refresh, you can't figure it out. Then it gets overloaded, and then by the time you figure it out, it's gone. It's one of those. I'm sure that they just had a few. I haven't seen a single person on the interwebs that claims to have gotten one. So who knows how many there, but great publicity stunt by their good old Applebee's.
Everyone's waiting like they're buying tickets for a concert.
Good
job.
I know. It's next Taylor Swift's going to get involved, and she's going to be all pissed at Applebee's and say how unfair their practices of determining who gets the gift cards is or whatever.
Maybe if it was successful enough, they'll do it again.
a perfect segue into our sports talk, where Taylor Swift is single-handedly willing the Kansas City Chiefs into the playoffs, where we have the Chiefs taking down the Bills on, what was that, Sunday night, right? And once again proving that the NFL is rigged, and that...
what about that game tells you that the NFL is rigged?
I have no idea, other than the fact that it's just the Taylor Swift connection. But when you look at that game, and like everyone, obviously the Chiefs were the underdog, 2.5 points. I won some money off of that because not only I placed some bets on Josh Allen going over, I think I even bet his odds to rush like over 60 or 70, which was like plus 250. And I think I put like 10 or 20 bucks on that, nice little cash out there. And then the Chiefs also winning on the money line seemed like 2 reasonable bets that paid off. And so looking at that game once again shows that Patrick Mahomes, whether or not he is at his homes or on the roads, can just dominate wherever he is.
Yeah, I'm feeling like the smart play, because they're underdogs again going into this week against the Ravens. Because I want the Ravens to win, I feel like the smart bet is to bet the Chiefs. So either way, I win.
Right, yeah. It's you either win with your heart or win with your pocket.
Love it.
I don't know. If you watch that game, you were waiting for the moment that the refs were going to turn it on for Kansas City, like everyone was expecting. But do you remember the conversation we had last week where every player that is a part of the league knows in some way that they could control the game?
Yeah.
When it's out of your hands.
Yeah, you either win by 21 or
so
it's up in the air.
If you're Buffalo, like, hey, we better go into the fourth up by a lot so we don't give them a chance to favor Kansas City. And when you were watching that game, there were a few calls that they could absolutely give this to Kansas City, but they didn't. I mean, it was the call that was overturned, the fumble in the end zone. I was fully expecting they were not going to overturn that.
Did you guys kind of I feel like as I was watching that game that Tony Romo was almost trying to instill panic into the Chiefs fan base or into anyone who was rooting for the Chiefs. It was like, I think at the time it was maybe 13-3 or, the Chiefs were down by a couple of scores. Very much the first half. It's just like, if I were a Chiefs fan right now, I'd be really concerned. And I'm like, we're really not that far away here. Like, I mean, I guess I can kind of see, but like Buffalo hasn't been that team like the Cowboys or whatever that could like break away for 40 points on you or something like that.
I get what he was saying when he made that comment though, because if you're Buffalo and you're up by even a touchdown and how well they've been playing, you don't want to play from behind.
Sure. I
mean, we were talking about a Mahomes Kelce that it took those two guys to, Kelce hadn't scored a touchdown in like 10 weeks.
Yeah,
whatever.
It was a long time.
And he scored 2 that night. But again, it came down to what? Josh Allen played out of his fucking mind. But as much as I don't want to like criticize him, he tried to play hero ball in the end. And it didn't work. But that wasn't the reason they lost. The same way that the Tyler Bass kick wasn't the reason they lost. It's hard to blame, like for me, it's hard to blame it on the kicker to like, yeah, give him credit when they win. You were put in that position, just like Justin Tucker said. But that Diggs drop, dude, your wide receiver won. That was big time.
The way that he tried to catch that ball, I know the one you're talking about, almost felt like he was trying to cradle it in versus like hand grab it or whatnot. It's like, what are you doing, man? But I mean,
it's easy to make fun of somebody like him because what are you gonna do? Like, you're gonna watch Chiefs celebrate, use it as fuel. Well, here's your fucking opportunity to do it, and get past it, and you did it again. So yeah, go watch a celebration, see if you could fucking make it over the hump next year.
Yeah, and they prove time and time again that they haven't been able to. And now even in the face of being on the road, Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs do it again.
Sad to see. Sad to see.
Yeah.
I know everyone.
Two
was,
back-to-back
Everyone
weeks,
was rooting for the Bills, but I don't know. How shitty the Chiefs' season has gone, and I know because of how many people want them to lose, how many people are annoyed by Taylor Swift. There's a part of me that's like, keep winning.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Before we get
It's
to
funny.
that,
I like chaos.
I thought it was like quite a questionable decision to do that fake fourth down
With
play with
DeMar
DeMar
Hamlin.
Hamlin. It was just, I know, like
He
that,
called that himself though at the line.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
He said, "Oh yeah, we had the look." It's like, yeah, they had 10 people on defense, but that doesn't mean we do a fake punt.
Right, and then like lucky for them, McCole Hardman fumbles it into the end zone, and it goes right back to them, so no harm.
Talk about script.
there.
That play, you were trying to write a story.
Yeah,
In the middle
with
of a
the DeMar
fucking
Hamlin
game.
thing.
You were trying to
Yeah.
create this incredible storyline, but you don't have the win locked down. Like, what the fuck
What
were
are
you
you
thinking?
doing? Yeah, no, for sure. It was interesting too when you look at that game. I mean, we had talked about this last week as far as Jason Kelce, and I know that Travis Kelce has come out this week and still maybe he's like trying to publicly will Jason back in or something like that, saying that, oh yeah, Jason looks like he still has a couple more years in him or whatever. But you know, Jason Kelce living his best life at that game, shirtless, drinking, you know, with the Bills Mafia ahead of time, girl dadding, bringing young girl fans to meet Taylor Swift and all this stuff.
Yeah, we were talking about how he's so well loved in the city of Philadelphia, but to see that you're well loved by every fan base,
Just
there's
wherever
nobody
you
that
go.
doesn't like
Yeah,
him.
exactly.
You could go
true.
into Buffalo and be loved by those fans against your brother's team. I mean, what other player in the NFL is like where fans embrace him like that?
You were hard pressed to see people who hated what Jason Kelce was doing, but just like super annoyed at the fact that they ever cut away to Taylor Swift too. Like what Jason Kelce was doing in the booth far outweighed anything that Taylor Swift has ever done versus just kind of show up to a game.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit of a double standard, but we can just kind of move on from that. So the Chiefs will face the Baltimore Ravens in the AFC Championship game. Lamar Jackson, a couple of rushing touchdowns. Didn't necessarily need to pass the ball as much, so his passing stats were not necessarily there. Was pretty bummed to see that game kind of got away from the Texans there because of kind of the momentum that they had. You would have liked to have seen it be a more competitive game. I would have liked to have won some money because I had some money on plus 9.5 and then plus 13 for the Texans, but the Ravens just continue their quest of absolute dominance.
Now,
and
here's a question. If you're a tinfoil hat guy and you believe in the whole NFL's rigged and it's scripted, which script are you writing with? The fact that the letters of the Roman numerals for the Super Bowl has purple in it, which means it's for the Ravens? Or are you writing the script of Taylor Swift has to be in the Super Bowl? It's a great moneymaker for the league. Which script weighs heavier that you think the NFL will go with?
Taylor Swift in the Super Bowl is by far going to be the thing that a lot of people are thinking is the conspiracy there.
Like you have Taylor Swift, you have a pretty below average Kansas City Chiefs season heading into this.
Which has looked like consistent though, like below average, but they found their stride. I wouldn't say they're as dominant as
No,
the
they have
Ravens,
good enough players to just make it there. And then you have, on the other side, you have Lamar Jackson, who was shopping himself around in the offseason, trying to
Right.
get paid a lot of money. Some people didn't think he deserved that. Now he's on the verge of winning his second MVP at 26 years old, possibly playing for a Super Bowl.
The Ravens, I don't think, have ever, at least in this era, but maybe ever hosted an AFC Championship game. I'm pretty sure that that's right, and it might just be in the John Harbaugh era. But that was something I heard, and I was like, huh, that's wild. Like, to see that they've been there and they've been to a number of Super Bowls to never host.
What year was the Joe Flacco Ravens Super Bowl?
2000.
Was that in the teens?
I don't know. Let me look that up.
10?
2011?
Ravens
I think 11 was the Giants. 11 was the Giants
Super
against the
Bowl.
Patriots. That was the undefeated Patriots team. I think.
2000. Shoot, I just had it. Thought I did. Da 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 da. 2012. 2012 was that one. But if I could go back to when we were talking about the tin hat stuff, let me see if I just had this up and now it went away. Is it this one? Oh, yeah. So Sean Smith is going to be calling this game as the head referee. And if I were to just read without fact-checking this at all, someone on Twitter says that road teams with Sean Smith as a referee win at the number one highest rate with him, and he penalizes home teams in ways no other ref does, and he's going to be covering that game.
Is it in Baltimore?
It is in Baltimore, and this guy apparently favors road teams in his calls, whatever that means.
I really hope. I mean, the only reason because here's the thing. Patrick Mahomes is going to win Super Bowls. There's no doubt about that. He's going to be winning Super Bowls in 10 years with kids that are literally in middle school right now.
So would Lamar.
I don't know if that's as much of a sure thing.
You're basing Mahomes' what age?
No, just his dominance. And
Yeah.
like his longevity.
His style and longevity, I think,
Yeah.
lends for a longer career than probably Lamar.
Yeah. And I don't hate Patrick Mahomes. It's really cool that we have been alive presumptively for the careers of two of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. To be able to see all of Tom Brady's career and now to see Patrick Mahomes' career from start to finish, that's a pretty awesome thing to see and be a part of. But I really want to see the Ravens win. I'd love to see them win this Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but just the Chiefs this year, it's like they haven't really, done really well. And I hate to say this, but it's like, oh, do they really deserve it?
Right.
They kind of stumbled in, and I hate to say that as a 7-7 fantasy champion. But it's a similar vibe.
I know.
Not one person in the league
You're just
told me
Spider-Man
congratulations.
pointing at yourself.
Not one
there.
person in the league told me congratulations, and that's kind of how I feel about the Chiefs.
Congratulations on your win.
Hey, thank
because
you.
our league is
but-
rigged. NFL
yeah,
isn't.
Exactly.
Oh,
Commissioner
okay.
at 7-7.
I wouldn't have a problem with 3 of the 4 teams winning. I just don't want the Niners to win.
Not down with the Niners.
Yeah, I don't
And
love the Niners.
But I don't have a good reason. I don't dislike any of those players. I love McCaffrey. I think McCaffrey's a great player and a great dude.
I mean, gosh, they've been in like 4 of the last 5 NFC
But there's just something
championships,
about them. It's the same way that you hate dominant teams. There's the same way, like, you don't have a good explanation for it. You just don't want the number 1 dominant team to fucking take the whole thing. I don't dislike any of the players. I don't dislike the organization. I think they're fucking great, but
are the 49ers just kind of flashy dominant versus the Ravens, which are actually dominant, or what? Or are you thinking the 49ers are more dominant than the Ravens?
I don't think the Niners are flashy dominant. I think because they just have good players. I think they're more dominant than any of the 4 teams. They have every position covered. If I had to pick one, I would want the Lions to win the Super Bowl. I think it would be a great fucking story for them to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah,
Over all of them.
A Lions-Ravens Super Bowl matchup would be so much fun.
A Lions-Ravens?
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so when you saw the 49ers, though, against the Packers, I mean, obviously, like, you have kind of that coaching matchup that we all expected to be, kind of, what am I thinking? Like, ultra competitive. Each guy kind of had each other's.
It was close.
They knew exactly what the other one was going to be doing. It was very close. Comes down to the very end there. And I kind of wonder if you look at the 49ers, which played a more competitive game against a Packers team versus the Ravens team, for instance, which was dominant. Like, are we are you guys concerned with the 49ers against the Lions? Do you think that the Lions could potentially be a good money play on Sunday?
I think the Niners will have more trouble with Detroit. And it's not based on eye test, but more like stats from the season. Detroit's a top 5 running defense in the league. But they are kind of on the bottom half when it comes to secondary and passing defense.
Yeah, they're one of the worst in the
But they get to the
secondary.
quarterback.
Sure.
So, but
The thing with the Niners, though, is what they showed you in the Packers game. It's not McCaffrey. That's the engine of that team. It's not Kittle. It's not Ayuk. It's Debo.
It's Debo, and Debo's hurt.
Everything runs around Debo.
Yeah.
When they lost him, it's not that they were lost. Like, McCaffrey is so good, it's good enough. But the thing is, if you're facing a top 5 defense, they're going to hold McCaffrey to less. He'll still get his, but he's not going to be out there like dominating you. Their offense is around Debo.
Brock Purdy looks so much different with Debo out there, for sure.
He is way more confident, way more relaxed when Debo's out there because Debo does a lot for that offense. I think they're going to have trouble with Detroit.
the one thing that does concern me, and I would put my money on the Lions for sure, but the thing that does concern me is if we look away from the team and at who's running it. I have a ton of respect for Dan Campbell, and I love his vibe. I love his energy. However, Kyle Shanahan just seems like a more intelligent and strategic coach who knows, kind of like a Belichick-esque, who knows the ins and outs, and knows the, things you can get away with and different strategies, formations, motions, shifts, whatever, that will kind of confuse a defense or a coaching staff. And I'm not trying to say that like Dan Campbell's a dummy, but I just feel like Kyle Shanahan, he's kind of in that upper echelon of, just like really smart, intelligent.
Yeah, and
Shanahan is a better X's and O's, and Dan Campbell will coach you with
he's a culture
heart.
coach. Yeah,
you got to have heart.
Yeah, absolutely.
So then it kind of comes down to, I guess, Shanahan versus, was it Ben Johnson, right? The offensive coordinator, who can dial up.
Who is also incredibly
and will be a head
intelligent.
coach here probably in the next couple of weeks. He's
Probably go to the
interviewing.
Commanders or something.
Commanders, I mean, we'll talk about some head coaching stuff here in a little bit, but I mean, also I know that he interviewed with the Chargers as well, so we're going to talk about the Chargers situation here in a bit. But yeah, I think that the Detroit could be a fun money play because if they lose, that's all right, but if they win, you're able to kind of, well, I guess that goes against your logic then, right? So you would probably want to bet on the 49ers, but hope that the Lions win, but that's not the best money play there. So
I'd just rather see them. I think it would be the same way that we wanted the Browns to be in the Super Bowl.
Sure.
Lions have long-time loyal fans that would probably never see this again. It'll be hard, to get to this point. It's never easy for anyone, as much as the Chiefs make it look easy or the Patriots make it look easy, but to have these long-time Lion fans to go to the Super Bowl would be pretty cool.
You were really high a couple of weeks ago, and I know you still are on Matthew Stafford. But I mean, what we've seen, and this is not against Matthew Stafford, but Jared Goff deserves a ton of credit for kind of resurrecting his career, kind of getting those negative thoughts out, because when you're traded, so they bring someone else in to win that Super Bowl when you already took them to the Super Bowl one time, then to do this again with this team, I think is an incredible feat.
I think
beat your old team on the way.
And beat your old team along the way.
He definitely deserves a lot of credit, but that also proves to you on situational stuff with the NFL, how you could be the greatest talent in the world, but if you land on the wrong team and wrong environment,
for sure,
there's going to be a part of it where it's no longer about your skill, but it's about your mental fortitude. Mm-hmm. Could you make it through this? Because we didn't see that with a lot of Heisman winners. We didn't see that with Troy Smith from Ohio State. Zach Wilson is struggling with that, but we've been seeing it with Jared Goff. We've been seeing it with Baker. Mm-hmm. I mean, these guys could easily be out of the league right now, but they landed in a situation where they worked with them. They were able to turn their just mentally be present and like, okay, I'm getting another chance.
Get that mental fortitude back.
Unfortunately, like somebody like Mariota, you would have loved to see that.
Yeah.
You would love, because he is that talented, he's that skilled player, but he never landed in the right situation.
And they fired Ken Wisenhunt, an offensive guy, and they brought in Mike Vrabel, a defensive guy.
And there's a part of it where, like, if you are not, there's two things you could do. You could either do what Baker and Jared Goff are doing, or you could fold because you've been beaten down so much. And I feel like somebody like Mariota just didn't have enough fight. It's like, dude, this is enough. And I can't blame him for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, once you start having things outside of the sport, you're having kids and you have a family. It's like, is this even worth it?
Yeah.
And he's been beaten down so much. It's like he never made it to that point.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, I'll just make a few $1 million a year as a backup, and
becomes a job,
Yeah.
whatever. There's no passion behind it anymore, probably. Yeah. But yeah, Jared Goff, absolutely.
Get a little top drop in there.
Pause.
Another one thing I was going to bring up during the Chiefs and Bills discussion, and back to the Tin Hatters thinking that the Chiefs are going to be the team to go through, is the ratings coming back. 50.3 million people tuned into the Chiefs-Bills game. It's the most watched divisional game ever. I would imagine that some of that has to do with the matchup itself, but also I would imagine there was a bit of a Taylor Swift effect there too. So that was one other thing that I wanted to add there for what could possibly come up. We'll make our bets at the end, or we'll come back to this.
Yeah, well, let's do a group.
A group bet. We'll do
Yeah.
another group bet. It's been a few weeks. We can resurrect our losses.
We've forgotten
here.
the losses.
It's time.
It's been long enough.
It's been long enough
We've
to
healed.
dip the toe back into it. So we'll have that at the end of
And I want some money on this weekend, and I'm not going to
Yeah.
open my DraftKings up again.
deal. A couple other NFL news and notes before we get to the NBA. Yes, we are talking the NBA here coming up. We had talked about what was going to happen with the Eagles. Obviously, like, they're cleaning house. It looks like Nick Sirianni's back by the way of, he's having joint press conferences with Howie Roseman, and possibly Cliff Kingsbury is on his way to the Eagles to be offensive coordinator after rumored to be going to Chicago to possibly be there with Caleb Williams, if that was in fact what they were going to do with the number 1 overall pick. But then they hire Shane Waldron, who is LaSalle Falcon here in the Portland area, a Portland native. And then, so he's the new offensive coordinator there in Chicago. Thought that was at least notable to mention. I don't know how much any of this has to do with Jason Kelce's headspace or whatnot, but
You think if it was up to you, you think he should retire? Or you think he should give it one more go?
Kelce?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't necessarily know if that's the way that you want to go out. When you think about how the end of the season worked, is maybe you try one more time. But I mean, one thing that I heard, and kind of in support of whether or not Travis might also retire, is whether or not the Kelce brothers will eventually end up doing a Manning cast on a Sunday Night Football or something like that.
They'll definitely do something.
So something like a Peacock, whatever alternative to a Manning cast.
They've been kind of building this
that
empire,
enterprise, for sure.
For that,
Yeah.
so they can seamlessly transition into something once both their careers are over. And they've done it very well. I mean, I listen to their podcast every week. It's one of the better podcasts out there, right behind ours.
But I think it's easier for us non-professional athletes to think, because when this conversation comes up, whether someone should retire or what they should do after the league or whatever, it always comes down, the way we think. It's oh, you've made enough money, you've made millions, there's all these things.
Those guys are so wired
They're
differently.
wired differently.
Yeah.
It's do I stop playing because I have all these other streams of revenue? They're not thinking that way.
Yeah,
it's
they don't think about money at all.
They're
at this point.
do I want to stop playing the game that I love to play, even though on 3 days out of the week I fucking hate it? There's an addiction. They're just wired differently. So I'm thinking with Kelce, it's as much as He loves doing the podcast, I'm sure, and I'm sure he has, if they do a Manning cast, that would be very entertaining for them and for us.
I think that this is something that you brought up last week, which was like whether or not his body can do it anymore, right? Wasn't he saying that like later in the week was starting to become a little bit harder and everything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, because I agree with Miguel, I don't think that it's about money. And I think you could say, hey, we didn't end on the right note. But at the same time, it's like, he had a very successful career. He won a Super Bowl. He knows he's one of the greatest centers of all time.
Does he have anything left to prove?
Right.
And I don't know if he's
now a sexiest man alive candidate.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't know if he does have anything more to prove.
I don't think he has anything left to prove, but when I'm saying that like people like him and people like them are wired different.
Yeah, they're crazy.
Think about when we play basketball. I don't leave the court unless I end on a make. It's just like I don't know why. I don't know why, how that started. Would he be thinking that way about, I don't want to leave my career with how the season ended? Leave it on a positive note. Would that be a big enough deal for him to not go out this way?
I don't know.
I think it's also too, if you like maybe if you could compare it to a TV show that runs a little bit too long, where you just go like, oh, that was so good for a while. It's kind of like why Seinfeld stopped when he did, right? Go out number one, be the best version of yourself. We've all seen shows, like Dexter or whatever, which, ends up like so crazy at the end where it jumps the shark. Where I'm going with this is kind of like, okay, going out on top where, you've proved what you need to prove, and kind of just, riding off and not knowing that before your body can't do what you want it to do anymore, and then you end up like Tristan Thompson, not to borrow an NBA thing, but he just got popped for 25 games because he was taking freaking supplements that is supposed to regenerate his muscles, because that's what you take when you get older. It was like legitimately the thing he was taking was, as a way to combat getting old and muscle regeneration and shit. So
yeah, because I think another thing is if he leaves now, he leaves at the top of his game. Although his team didn't do so well, again, he's considered the best center, first team All-Pro. Everybody, he's, like we just said, he is one of the most universally loved,
he's adored,
people in the United States, if not further. This is a great time to take that kind of momentum into something else.
Cash in elsewhere.
Yeah, and sure. Whereas if he goes back another year, the Eagles still, fall short. He gets injured, which is incredibly likely at his position with what he does, the way he does it.
Right.
The tush push, that's got to take a toll on him and his body. I don't know. It's just, for me, it's one of those situations. It's like, oftentimes I feel, this way or that way about a player retiring. I'm happy for him either way. I really don't care. I'm going to continue to watch him and love him no matter what he does.
Just thinking about family and life outside of football, I think he should retire.
Yeah.
He has a lot of things waiting for him that he could spend more time doing. But I don't think if he were to come back another year that it would change much about how we think and how we view him. Because the difference between a TV show running too long or any other player is someone like Tom Brady, there's a lot of people waiting for his demise. You know what I mean? Someone like Aaron Rodgers, there is a split. There's fans and there's people that's just waiting for you to fail. I don't think Jason Kelce has anybody like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is kind of the benefit of being a lineman, that people care, but they don't care so much that they hate you.
Yeah, and his personality is just the way that he is. He's just liked by a lot of people. So I think him coming back for another year, no matter what happens outside of a major injury,
that's kind of what I was more so referring to.
I don't think will change much about what he can do after, how he's perceived and stuff.
Yeah, no, for sure. Let's see, if we look at the NFL coaching carousel, the Raiders decided to do a Friday news dump and hire Antonio Pierce full-time.
Great decision.
It was a good decision. It was kind of weird when they did it. They did it 4:15 on a Friday, almost just kill the news right before, a big weekend in football, so that was a little random. Then the Titans go ahead and hire Brian Callahan, the offensive coordinator for the Bengals, son of Bill Callahan, the great Nebraska coach. He also coached in the NFL. But that one was kind of weird to me because, like, okay, like it was probably like a friction between ownership and coach, why the Mike Vrabel thing happened. But when you go, we're going to fire Mike Vrabel, and you think about like what he has done as a coach and his philosophies and everything, just to be like, for Brian Callahan, we got our guy.
It does seem a little bit odd.
Got our guy.
Their move,
I don't know
their
enough
move
about
is
him.
pretty obvious, though. It's
be more offensive.
It's a scoring league.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be the Titans of the last 4 years. They want to have an offensive-minded coach where they could go toe-to-toe with Kansas City and all these guys that are scoring 30, 40 points a game.
Let's see. If we want to shift our attention a little bit to the NBA, it is that time, boys. A couple of interesting things of note. We had a trade go down in the association, the Heat trading for essentially Damian Lillard. You know how the Heat were kind of in on trying to get Damian Lillard. They get Terry Rozier from the Charlotte Hornets, where you look at their stats this year, basically
Very
identical.
similar.
It's the same fish.
It is the same fish, but Terry Rozier is half the price, and, I think that probably plays in their favor. Who knows if that will be something that they can sustain, but they get rid of another big contract in Kyle Lowry. He goes back. It sounds like they're going to try and get him traded elsewhere, but for now they're not going to cut him. Terry Rozier going to a team that he rooted for during the 2010s. He was a Heat fan, but I mean LeBron, Dwayne Wade, those guys. So yeah, kind of an interesting dynamic to see that trade go down. And then speaking of Damian Lillard, he is going to have a new coach. After 43 games, they dump Adrian Griffin, and they have hired Doc Rivers coming down late Tuesday night. Doc Rivers, who also happened to be a consultant for the Bucks, brought in by management, and he was probably like, you know what, I could do this. That was his consulting fee, was fire that guy, put me in.
Hey, I got an idea.
What a shit end of the stick for
Yeah.
Adrian Griffin.
Like the Bucks 30-13 to start the year, but a lot of people talking about how they had the easiest schedule up into this point, and how Damian Lillard's having the worst offensive career, and how they go from having one of the best defenses to one of the worst defenses. Well, guess what? Damian Lillard is your point guard, and they traded away Drew Holiday, who was just like a lockdown defender. Like, this is Occam's razor to the nth degree.
Yeah, and sorry, Damian Lillard doesn't play defense.
He just doesn't play defense.
That's
so
the only
like,
thing
that's
they
what you
could knock.
traded him for.
That's the only thing they could knock him for, because you can't base it off of stats and how he's not as effective. He was the only one producing for Portland. He doesn't need to do that with Milwaukee anymore.
Yeah.
So
Right.
naturally his numbers are going to go down. But yeah, the guy doesn't play any fucking defense. Drew Holiday led that team in shutting everybody down. But
Yeah, I mean,
everyone's going to go past Dame.
Yeah, and that trade did go down after they had already hired Adrian Griffin as well. Not only that, but then, there was some sort of infighting where Terry Stotts, former Blazers coach, was an assistant for the Bucks, and apparently him and Adrian Griffin get into a verbal altercation in which Griffin dresses Terry Stotts down at a practice, and Terry goes, I'm not doing this, and he quits 2 days later. And he could have actually been like an interim head coach for the Bucks, and that would have been kind of interesting. But
It's even less defense.
yeah, even less. But it is interesting because, like, of course Dame's stats are going to go down. He has a guy on the court who is better than him.
He's not the number one
He
option.
doesn't need to be the number one. So I'm like,
Yeah, he
naturally.
can just be a facilitator.
Yeah. And then, of course, their defense was going to be worse. But, I mean, I guess, like, people could attribute to the fact that they look a little different, blah, 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 and their championship window was small. So let's go ahead and bring Doc Rivers in, the least, like, follow-through of a coach in the playoffs.
No clutch.
Just
No
ever. Like,
clutch.
you know how many Game 7s that guy has lost? All of them. All of them he has lost. So it's just hilarious that, like, here he is again, just riding that Boston Celtics championship from years ago.
That's one of the main reasons I don't think this Bucks team is going to work. And I could eat my words at the end of the season, but you are asking a score-first star in the league to be a facilitator. That's not Dame's game.
Yeah.
He scores 40. He scores 30. You're asking him to be a 7 or more assist type of player. That's not going to happen because what's already happening is you have gotten worse defensively. You have gained another star and 20 or so points a game. But it all evens out because you have reduced the production of Chris Middleton and Bobby Portis, all these guys that they won the championship with. So nothing has changed for them. They're going to run into a Boston team that's playing exceptionally well right now. They're going to run into Clippers. I don't think the Clippers will win a championship. The Clippers are playing really fucking well.
It is interesting the tactic that the Bucks are taking because they've gotten super impatient with their head coach, whoever that head coach is, and saying that you need to make a change, and then you just kind of like, we've always talked on this podcast about grass and being greener. And, you know, you've had coaches in Mike Budenholzer and Nick Nurse. You've had guys who have proven that they can get you there. You just, like, haven't quite gotten over the hump. So then you trade in for Adrian Griffin. 43 games in. He is the third shortest tenured coach in NBA history. It's just insane that your latitude wasn't even to the All-Star break. So
They're too excited about their new arena.
Apparently.
Did you see that interview with Steve Ballmer, right?
The Clippers?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Clippers guy.
Yeah. He's intense.
I mean, we've seen him like at Microsoft meetings back where he was all sweaty and running around.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you want to pull it up now or later, but he's at they're breaking ground and doing construction for the Clippers' new arena, and he's got a hard hat on, and he's just screaming into the mic.
Coked out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And he's got good coke.
he's got the good
Mexican
stuff.
Coke.
Let's see
Colombian. You hear that? 3 times the urinals than any...
Boasting about all of the yeah. This guy's so excited about people peeing.
There's nothing about that arena.
Watch as Windows integrates Lotus 123 with Miami Vice. Now we can take this Ferrari and paste it right into Windows Right. Now, how much do you think Microsoft Windows is worth? Don't answer. Wait until you see Windows Right and Windows Paint, and then listen to what else you get at no extra charge. The MS-DOS Executive, an appointment calendar, a card file, a notepad, a clock, a control panel, a terminal, a print spooler, RAM driver.
Enough.
And can you believe it?
All right. No.
Checkers.
Jesus
Can you
Christ.
believe it?
Too wired. I think the only way you would
Exhausting.
enjoy that new Clippers arena when it's built is if you're not there for the game. Like if you're not caring about being in your seat to watch the game and you're there to like the Raiders arena. If you're there to like enjoy the lounge, go eat, go use the bathroom, whatever, but just drink because the seats, the way they have the fucking screen, if you are not able to pay for like 200 level or better, you do not have a good view of the game.
And you're you're basically like in line with those big jumbotrons, so you're just watching.
Yeah.
Your eyes are naturally
aren't you
going
guys
to
doing
go
that
to
anyways
big
when
thing.
you sit that high up? Are you
Yeah.
actually watching the game on the court? Because I'm not.
I'm not because I can't see.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, you're designing a new court, you're definitely not looking out for the top people.
Do you think that thing that they're trying to institute there, the wall, is going to totally backfire? Where basically, like, you have to prove your fandom, and if you can't sell your seats to anyone other than Clippers fans, and you have to answer trivia questions about that in order to
It
get...
would absolutely backfire. Clippers fans don't exist.
Yeah.
Clippers fans
trying
are
to create a
disappointed
college-
Laker fans.
Yeah, they're trying to create a college atmosphere, and it's like, that thing is going to be empty.
That's, to me, the poverty franchise of the NBA will always be the fucking Clippers. They have always been the one until Baltimore came. They are paying rent at fucking Staples Center. They don't have a real fan base. You could say all you want that Lakers have bandwagon fan bases, but they have fans, like real Laker fans.
Yeah.
Clippers are just pissed off Laker fans. That's all they have.
Yeah, I feel like 50% of their ticket sales are going to be corporate sales.
Who played for the Clippers in 1999? I'll just go home.
Yeah.
I'll just turn around.
I know, like, over, under how many years that's going to go. Probably that'll go 2 years, maybe 3, and then they'll have to abandon it.
Let's go months.
I would be willing to bet that if you ask anyone who claims they are a Clipper fan, they do not remember anyone on the roster before Lob City. Before DeAndre Jordan, Blake Griffin, and Chris Paul, they don't know any Clipper before that.
I definitely don't, that's for sure.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Michael Olowokandi.
That's a fake name.
Is it?
You owe me a candy? Mike, you owe me a candy. Let's see. What other do we have in the... I have so many freaking tabs open.
The players went off last night. You not see all the performances?
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I do
thought for
have
sure
that.
that
Yeah,
that
that's
was
on
gonna
here.
come up.
Yeah, it's somewhere in the... I'm like very far away from my screen. Joel Embiid, 70 points.
He had 24 in the first quarter.
Yeah, 70 points, 18 rebounds. He is the only player ever to have 70, 15, and 5 or more in a game. Michael Jordan is the only other player to also do that, but at 65 points.
You know, on DraftKings, I'm sure other sports books, you can bet on over-under of the total points, rebounds, and assists. His stat line from last night was over under 47.5. He was there at halftime. He ended at 80-something.
That is wild. And then Karl Anthony Towns, 62 points. He gets benched in crunch time against the Hornets, and then he gets ripped by his coach post-game because of how bad their defense was. They let that game go, and so his 62 points turned out to be all for naught because they ended up throwing the game away.
Well, he was shooting them out of the game. He realized that, hey, I'm on a heater. I'm just going to, anytime I touch the ball, put it up. And he was like 0 for 12 to start the fourth quarter.
So he scored 3 points in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
And they pulled him, and then they put him back in. And here's what I will say about that. I don't like Karl Anthony Towns at all. I think he's
on this podcast, we've really talked highly about him.
But to do a post-game interview where your player scores 62 and to completely take the limelight away from that and to rip him is in bad taste.
I didn't see this.
Let me pull it up here.
Because what the players were, it wasn't Cat going, give me the fucking ball. The teammates around him wanted him to keep scoring, so they were finding ways for him to add more points. But in doing that, they let the other team come back.
Here is Chris Finch, the head coach of the Minnesota Timberwolves, talking about the performance, not only of the team, but of Karl Anthony Towns and their defense.
Obviously, we're going to try to feed a hot hand, look for a hot hand, but at some point, we got to get back to making the right play. We got to get back to doing the right things. That's just, like I said, there's a lot of ways to be immature. There's always a lot of ways to be immature, and there was a lot of immature performances here throughout the roster. We totally disrespected the game ourselves, and we got exactly what we deserve. So,
Chris, did you also see? I mean, did it turn into Karl trying to hunt like a big number?
Yeah, I mean it was. I mean, but for a while, it was going, but down the stretch, we kind of dried up for us. But yeah, so.
Why?
Yikes. Calling it immature play.
I don't like that. I don't like that he's throwing
Bad
his
energy.
player under the
Bad
bus.
energy.
It's not how you win people over.
Are you going to blame your player who drops 62 for your entire team letting the opponent come back from being down 30 points? I mean, it's not him hunting for offense that made the other team come back. Like, why throw him under the bus like that and completely take the shine away from him scoring?
When it was going well for Karl Anthony Towns, it was going well. This is a clip from the second quarter, and this is from Bally Sports Charlotte. I bet you guys will recognize this voice, and if you don't, I have the clip from which you might remember.
This new record, 38. No!
The fucking Charlotte guy.
What's happening? Keep it away from Towns. This new record, 38. No!
One more time.
Are you kidding? What's happening? Keep it away from Towns.
This
sounds like he got shot.
Yeah, this is the same guy. Let's see, from earlier this year when we had Eric Collins is his name. He is the like I said, the play-by-play announcer for the Hornets, but he also was calling some college games, and this was the Baylor UCF game in which there was a 4th and long, and UCF ended up losing this game, but it was not before this call.
McClain, running out of time. What do you got? McClain! He's still on his feet. Oh my goodness! It's gone! Unbelievable!
And they lost the game. Yeah, I love that so much.
Love it.
I appreciate
What is happening?
I appreciate those calls more when it's not so biased for the other team like most NBA announcers.
Sure.
That's why I love the Gus Johnsons and even that NCAA call. But when it's the obvious like homer announcers for a team, I don't like it so much.
Sure.
I honestly like it more. I think it's funnier.
That's why I hated the Mikes from Portland.
Sure.
Mike Barrett and Mike Rice.
Oh, I've got Gus Johnson happening here. Hold on.
This new record, 38. No! Are you kidding? What's happening? Keep it away from Towns.
That's pretty funny.
This is really the only way that we can get Peter to focus on a very specific section if there's a call.
If there's a great
because
call.
we'll hear it
Yeah, we'll hear
24
it.
times.
Yeah, that's the old radio in me.
We don't need to
beat
play it
it
again. Let's
beat
make
it
it very
into-
clear.
Wait,
We do
what?
not.
You want him to be interested in a topic? Have a call like this. It's like a radio DJ playing the song
Oh my
over and
gosh.
over where
Yeah.
it's good, and then it just overplays it. Where like I kind of hate it now.
Yeah. Did I tell you guys that so on New Year's when we had people over that I didn't really know, but I piqued the interest of my sister's friend's boyfriend. And he is like super into sports as well, and I started talking to him about different calls, and I just went through the gamut of all of the calls. I was like,
you found a virgin.
A sucker.
yeah, I was just like playing it. I was like, okay, listen to Joe Buck and how his voice hits the peak right in, and it blends in with the crowd. It's amazing.
I bet
You're
you
just
talked.
fully
I bet
erect.
you talked to
Yeah.
Lindsay after and was like, "This guy was so like super interested in these calls.
He's so cool.
The whole time the guy's like, I'm in his house. I have to respect this bullshit.
Yeah, I know. It's like, yeah.
He let my daughter in.
Yeah, we're here. That's how it goes. But yeah, I thought, okay, back if we could like just close this out with all of these performances.
Kevin Durant, 43. Not
Yeah,
common.
there was like 4 players that went over 35 on the anniversary of Kobe's 81.
Tatum,
81, yeah.
39. Durant, 43. Embiid, 70. And Cat, 62.
There's something about January 22nd, apparently.
Minnesota's the only one that lost.
Yeah. But I
Because
mean, like,
you ask somebody like Kobe, you better win the fucking game if you're going to have a performance.
I don't remember what Terry Stott said after Dame hit like 66 or 67 points, and then the Blazers lost. Actually, they lost pretty handily. I think it was to the Nets at the time. The opponent doesn't matter, but like they ended up losing not very close. It was like, well, what are you supposed to do? Let a guy go off, give them a hot hand, and then just let it ride.
Yeah, but that's the difference between winning organizations and not, because you remember when Klay Thompson had a 37-point third quarter. But it's like, it's more important to win. It's a great feat, but it's more important to win. Like, they could have played him in the fourth and he would have gotten 80. But it's like, let's win.
I don't think that Chris Finch won anyone over in the locker room by calling his players immature and basically like
I don't think that's gonna go
dragging his players through the media. Like, that's not how you do
Watch them start falling. Minnesota's like the #1 team in the league right now. You throw some shit like that, you throw your team and one of your best players under the bus.
Look at that as a turning point for sure. Absolutely.
Bad
Maybe
news
not. Maybe this is how Karl Anthony Towns responds. I'm not sure, but I would not appreciate that.
What, he's going to be like, oh my God, my coach totally threw me under the bus.
The bus.
And I know I'm sounding super spicy right now, but I scored 62. Okay, sis?
Sis. Hey, girl.
Fucking spicy ass bitch. Good for you, 62.
62.
Maybe fire that coach, just like everyone else is doing. Get rid of him.
Let's go ahead and look at some bets for the weekend, shall we? And maybe go ahead and place our own little bet here.
Are we doing games? I mean, there's 2 games.
There are 2 games. Once again, revisiting championship weekend.
We're not going to get this up to like plus 600 unless we go 2 underdogs.
We're gonna get feisty with it. Maybe we both come up with 2 picks.
Like a prop pick?
If we went just alone on the 2 underdogs, that is at plus 810 odds. And $30.
Wait, the Lions and the Chiefs?
The Lions and the Chiefs puts you at plus 810.
Oh, I like that. That's not bad.
For a payout of $273.
That could be one bet. How about that? That's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a great odds.
Let's each throw 10 on that.
Okay.
What's 30 plus 8, 10?
No, if we're gonna make multiple bets, let's throw 5 each on this.
Okay.
Because 15 pays over 100 anyway.
15 pays 136.
Okay. Yeah, that's not bad.
Perfect.
All right, so that one is in.
And let's do another. What happens if we ride the script of the Ravens and the Niners? Double money plus 101.
So what if we did it on the spread? Would you want to do that, or would you just want to do straight up? So if we also played those, so at $15, that pays double, right? So you basically just get our money back if we just go with the favorites here.
Well, I like the 2 underdogs. Did you already place that?
I think I did.
So that's 15 to pay 130.
No, just 30.
No.
The first one, the underdogs
was the 15 to pay 136.
That's already placed.
Let me make sure I placed that. Did I not place that yet?
Doesn't look like it.
Apparently, I did not. Nope, but I do still have a couple of Super Bowl bets open. So my chalk pick, it looks like it might pay out $150 or whatever. Okay.
What's that, Ravens Niners?
Yeah. Okay, so this one here, let's go ahead and $15 pays 136. We will place that bet. All right.
So that's the 2 underdogs.
Yep. The 2 overdogs.
And both road. Those are the 2 underdogs are both road teams.
Yeah.
What if we do props?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay. Are they up right now? It looks like we do have some anytime touchdowns. Anytime touchdown, Lamar Jackson at plus 105, Gus Edwards plus 130, Isaac Pacheco plus 125, Travis Kelce plus 120, Rashee Rice at 135, plus 135. Mark Andrews making his way back for championship weekend at plus 150.
I kind of love a Rashee Rice, Mark Andrews combo.
Ooh, I could go for that. We'd have to turn on a Mark Andrews one for sure feels like, nice
welcome back, buddy.
Nice welcome back type of a thing. We could also do a tight end special there with Travis Kelce and Mark Andrews.
How do you feel about thinking about what I said earlier. Lions have a very good run defense, which means the secondary will be vulnerable to a receiving touchdown to just increase the odds of the favorite. So instead of taking the Niners and the Ravens straight up or even the spread, which will only take it to like plus 300, from plus 100 to plus 300, what about the bet of taking an anytime touchdown tied to a win for each team? So, like this one, Lamar Jackson anytime and the Ravens to win, and then a Niner player for a touchdown and a Niners to win.
So just like a Christian McCaffrey or a
Brandon Ayuk.
I took Ayuk because him or Kittle got a shit ton of targets when Debo was out.
So Lamar and a Ravens, I did at -3.5. But
no, you don't tie them to. You don't pick the two. There's one that's already done. Like,
what does it say?
Go touchdown scorers.
But what is your say? Like, what is that? What are those odds there?
If I were to take Lamar in a win and Kittle or Ayuk.
Oh, you want to do both of them at the same time?
Yeah, there's literally a bet on there. If you click on touchdown score, like unclick that.
Okay.
Click on the touchdown scores tab. Scroll down. There's going to be something to score and win.
Will there?
Scroll up.
Popular?
There is a to score and win. It'll show you the player tied to a win.
I've seen that before. I just don't know where. And you said it's under touchdown scores?
Yeah.
Quick same
I don't know
parlay?
if mobile is different than what you're looking at.
I think it might have been at the bottom. Touchdown scores.
You see this?
I do, yeah.
Is it one of those options?
What does that say? Anytime touchdown score.
Yeah, it's weird.
Or you can just click both if you're not seeing it. Like, what does it look like if you take Lamar anytime?
Plus 170.
And then the Ravens money line.
Yeah.
And then tie it to pick a Niner player.
But can I do that?
You got to go same game parlay.
So same game parlay.
Which I'm in.
Yep. That's why it's not showing up.
Oh, because you're in same game parlay.
Same game parlay.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me see. Okay, what's that sitting at?
Plus 170.
Do we want to do Lamar Jackson or do we want to do Mark Andrews with George Kittle?
I don't know if you guys want to trust me on this, but let me just see if that's the same first. But the guy that does all the analytics and all that shit.
Uh-huh.
You said plus 170?
Yeah.
I'm just checking to see if that's what. Yeah, that's what it says.
Okay.
He is basing his stats, his analytics off of the Bills-Chiefs game, in which they held down Buffalo's passing offense and held, because their secondary, McDuffie and all of them are so good, that they held Josh Allen to 186 passing yards and shut down Diggs, but Josh Allen ran all over them. So he's saying
he scored twice.
Lamar is a better runner than Josh Allen. He's not as good a passer. He is basically claiming the fact that Lamar is going to rush all over Kansas City.
So let's stick with that.
That's why I was thinking him and not even like Gus Edwards or
and then what's the odds on Ayuk versus Kittle?
Ayuk is minus 115. George Kittle is plus 105. And McCaffrey minus 130.
You see how that's lowest for McCaffrey so far, because he's usually like minus 200 or up, right?
Yeah.
So what's that sitting at if we took Lamar, Ayuk, and then both money lines?
That would be plus 494.
What do we get there?
15 would pay. Is that 89 or 99? 80. Fuck, I can't see that. One moment. 89. 89.10.
That's not bad.
Yeah,
We
I
have
like
two
it.
bets, $10 each. Kind of covers both the favorites and the underdogs.
Yeah, do it.
All right, $10 in. I'm good with that.
Grambling.
Go Ramblin'.
Who was the diner guy we picked? Ayuk?
Yeah. There you be.
And then Debo's active. Great.
Yeah, it would be nice if Debo was active. A nice play might be Gibbs or Montgomery there in plus money. So why not? Amon-Ra St. Brown
Okay,
at
hold
plus
on.
130.
Are we 10 each?
We're at 10 each right now.
Are you guys willing to throw down another 5?
Sure.
For an anytime touchdown scorer, one from each team.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
One from each team.
Yep.
I mean, let's dive into this. We
Shut
haven't
up.
gambled
I'm
in
in.
weeks. So let's start from the top here. Are we going Lions first?
Lions first. Gibbs or Montgomery? I feel
What are
like
those odds?
plus 115, plus 120. Gibbs at 115, Montgomery at plus 120.
They both scored last week.
They did both score. It feels like Montgomery is more of your
Kareem Hunt, the goal line touchdown.
Yeah.
I would lean Montgomery, which concerns me that we all agree.
So Gibbs.
Let's do Gibbs.
But Gibbs' touchdown last week came on a long run. It did come on a longer run. He broke away and was able
What
to
about
get there.
Amon-Ra?
Amon-Ra's at plus 130. I kind of trust the
Niners secondary are tough.
Yeah,
dude.
I kind of am leaning Montgomery here.
Okay, Montgomery.
Okay. Take that son of a bitch.
And then how do we feel about
You got to go same game. Are you same game?
Yep.
Okay.
Do we go Debo or do we go Kittle or do we go McCaffrey?
Well, I think if we're for our argument with Montgomery, McCaffrey's low enough that we got to take him.
Okay.
That's like a sure thing, seems like.
Yep, then that takes us to plus 162. And then if we go over to the Kansas City and Baltimore game, please. For any time touchdowns, we
Are you
have,
same game?
I am not.
Are we in
now.
agreement with the Chiefs? Because I got a name.
What's your name? Rice?
It's got to be Pacheco.
I was going to say the same thing.
It's got to be Pacheco. I mean, is he at plus money?
Plus money at plus 125.
Who are the two? Who's above him?
Also at plus money, Jackson, which we have at plus 105.
Okay, we already got
Kelce
that
at
bet.
plus 120. Then if we look at the Ravens side of things, the best odds outside of Lamar Jackson would be Mark Andrews. Or no, Gus Edwards, sorry, at plus 130.
I took Gus last week, and he didn't fucking score.
Yeah,
I was
that
going to
one.
say we either do Mark Andrews or Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers plus 160.
I would normally be on the Gus bus train, but I took him last week on 2 different parlays, and he didn't score. And he didn't get as many carries as Justice Hill. I don't know if he got hurt, but
if we go back to the Lamar well, and we actually are confident in that puts us at plus 315 for that one. If we are 4-pick parlay, that is $15 pays at plus 985 pays 163.
I don't want to double down on Lamar.
Okay.
Let's give ourselves a
Agreed.
chance with another guy.
Okay. Better odds would be Andrews or Flowers.
Where's Likely? Likely's been scoring,
Likely is at plus 180.
but less production with Andrews back.
Potentially, but I mean, if everyone thinks that Andrews is Andrews going to be a decoy?
Listen, I think Zay Flowers, the targets that he gets end zone targets all the time.
At plus 160, that puts.
I'll leave
that
it up to you
pick
guys.
To plus 425 puts us at plus 1275, which would be 15.
I like Zay Flowers.
Zay Flowers or Andrews?
206. I'm fine with that, and I'm fine to press
Do it.
the button.
This is 5 each.
This is 5 each.
Woo!
So now after
3 bets? I'm going to lose my fucking mind on Sunday.
So now after I have condensed all of this, because we do, we have talked about this, I'm going to condense this down. So, all right, here we are. We have 3 total bets between us. The first one is a 2-pick parlay, which has the underdogs in the Chiefs and the Lions both winning. $15 pays $136. Then we have a 4-pick parlay in which we have a 2-pick same-game parlay with Lamar Jackson scoring and the Ravens winning. And then Brandon Ayuk scoring and the 49ers winning. That is $15 to pay $89.10. And then our final bet is a 4-pick parlay, which has 1 touchdown score from each team in each game. The first one being David Montgomery and Christian McCaffrey. That line itself is plus 162, combined with Isaac Pacheco and Zay Flowers. That combined is plus 425. All in puts you at plus 1275, where $15 pays $232.
Gosh, I can't wait to lose all these.
Yeah, tune in next week when we talk about we lost $45.
You know why we're not going to lose? For, what is it, 10 weeks, 11 weeks?
13.
We placed these bets together. We didn't hit a single one because we didn't watch any of the fucking games together.
Yeah.
Groups that place this money, they're huddled around, they win together. We're going to be together on Sunday to watch both games.
That's a great
point. We are going to win at least one of these bets.
And we're going to buy blizzards.
It's
Dude,
destiny.
I'm looking at a yacht.
A yitch? That yitch.
So what? That's $15 each, a total of $45 to win what? $400?
The potential to win 300, and then what is that? 436 about. Dude. We could win. So
it's an investment.
Yeah, 10x our money.
Dude,
yeah,
I love Roy's, don't you? ROIs.
Love a good Roy.
Oh man, I'm excited.
Oh goodness. Well, I'm excited for Saturday or Sunday. It's going to be a great day. We're all together, like you said, having a little potluck.
What's the dress code? Sweats?
Yeah, comfy.
Right,
you can tell me any other dress code. I will be in sweats.
Yeah, we're going to be eating gumbo.
Austin's taquitos.
I'm just going to have my deep fryer.
Yeah, please. And the new bottle of Chick-fil-A sauce. Whatever you're putting in that deep fryer will be dipped in that.
Nice. Well, until now that we're back.
Next week is just me and you.
That's true, yeah.
Braxton going to Mexico.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cancun?
Yeah. Playa del Carmen.
And we have to sit here in the fucking 40-degree weather while he's in Mexico.
Yeah,
we'll dial you in.
How about we just
a nice 84, 86?
Let's just do an hour-long Braxton roast. That.
Yeah.
Have a blow-up doll with his fucking face like glued on the thing, and then we just do a Braxton roast.
That sounds fun.
Nothing but jail time.
Jail time.
Oh, goodness. Well, you guys have fun with that.
Well, you have fun in Mexico.
We're only losing you 1 week,
Spend all
right?
of your money.
Yeah. Even though we'll be there.
You could buy a house with this $400.
I will. All right, boys. Clear eyes.
Ball hard.
Can't lose.